13, this is the report on leadership and integrity. It has 2 paragraphs. First paragraph has 15 words. Second paragraph has 35 words. 50 words on leadership and integrity. So their report is short on imagination, it is short on facts, short on truth. It is basically something that is designed to mislead and misinform. If you look at ours, you can count the words for yourself, the paragraphs, so that you get an accurate representation of what it is. Secondly, we are here to separate facts from fiction. There was a lot of fiction yesterday, and we want Kenyans to get involved in politics with facts. So we will present to you the facts, and you make your judgment, and we will invite other players, civil society, to make also their own report. So you can compare their report, our report, and the civil society's report, and other people's reports, and your own report and your own judgment as a Kenyan. You must also understand that this particular agenda was time-bound. There were key performance indicators which were to drive the political engagement that was being mooted between UDA and ODM. I use the word mooted informally because it was not yet agreed. Baba had made it very clear there'll come a time when we review the union based on these key performance indicators. Then we decide whether to proceed or to withdraw or to do something else. Yesterday we were being told that this was not time-bound, that this can be implemented ad infinitum until the world ends. And you saw there was a lot of confusion. You didn't know whether UDA was representing a report on their manifesto or they were doing the 10-point agenda. You didn't know where it started and where each ended. So we will not allow them to corner us, that they set their own exam, they write their own exam, they mark their own exam, they award themselves marks. We cannot allow them. That does not happen. So we are here as the people to give them a record. Now, this report, I'll just give you some highlights, and I'll not go into details because they'll all be presented. But let's take the issue of audit of the 2022 presidential elections, what we called opening the server. There was an item like that. No work has been done on that. To date, people are asking IEBC, and we are asking them again here. If you do not address the issue of technology, not just the technology itself, but whoever supplies that technology for purposes of the next general elections, then what have you achieved? That was here. It has not been done, and they were too afraid to address it there. Nobody talked about it, opening of the servers. Did you hear anything about that? Confidence in the IEBC. They bragged that IEBC has been reconstituted. But ask yourself the question of Kenya. When there are questions on how the selection process was done, when there's ultimate suspicion of close personal and other connections between those who are put into IEBC and those who are holding high offices in government and influential positions even in ODM, there are issues that must be addressed. So we wish IEBC well, and we are going to support IEBC, but we cannot bury our heads in the sand that there are no credibility questions. So we need to discuss these things. The cost of living crisis. They talked a lot about cost of living crisis. But I want to ask you and ask Kenyans, do you feel better off today than you were 3 years ago? That is a question they ought to have answered there. Does your shilling buy you more today or less than it did 3 years ago? Those are the questions that people and mwananchi want to know. We don't want to be told the inflation has dropped from here to here. When the inflation was up here, the cost of goods went up to that point. They've not come down. The incomes have not grown. So don't tell us about inflation, exchange rate, and all those things. The fundamental question, are Kenyans better off today than they were 3 years ago?